What's up, guys? It's Dan from Coin Bureau Trading, back at it again with another crypto market update. Today we've got Cardano, Chainlink, and Algorand. Of course, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering what's going on with these three cryptos. Why are they crashing? Are they going to pump? How high are they going to go? How low are they going to go? If this is the kind of content that you enjoy, then be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ping that notification bell. Before we get started, guys, do keep in mind that nothing in this video is financial advice. It's just my personal analysis of these cryptos. Your analysis could be different, and honestly, guys, if it is, that's awesome. As I love to say, the more difference of opinion we have, the better traders, the better investors we're all going to become. So with that all being said, guys, let's get started here, taking a look at Cardano. Of course, those of you who follow Cardano closely will know that ADO was looking quite strong over the weekend. Looks like it's probably going to pump around the time of Trump's inauguration, which is next Monday. But of course, right now prices aren't looking too hot, but that's the case for crypto across the board. You know, it's really funny when people say, why is this crypto pumping? Usually it's because the whole crypto market, why is this crypto crashing rather? Usually it's because the whole crypto market is crashing. And that's been the case, of course, over the last 24 hours or so. I think a lot of people are nervous about, I know there's like more escalation, I think, in the Middle East. There's a lot of uncertainty around like Trump coming into office. And of course, we do have some significant CPI data coming in later this week. This is all stuff that, guys, like, in the longer term, in the grand scheme of things, is really just kind of noise. And if you do stick around until the end of this video, I'll show you guys why, there's going to be a fundamental reason to be bullish here in the coming days, not just because of the Trump inauguration, but there's going to be a huge increase in liquidity, which is, of course, a buzzword that was being thrown around a lot when crypto was rallying. And of course, people stop paying attention when, the narrative just tends to follow the price, as people know. Anyways, guys, with that rant out of the way, back to Cardano here. Was really interesting to me is that the Cardano Foundation has recently announced a new series where they're basically going to be showcasing crypto projects in Cardano's ecosystem every single Friday. In my opinion, this is going to be, I guess, more of a, I would say, like more related to altcoins in Cardano's ecosystem rather than ADA itself. But of course, anything that causes speculation within the altcoins in Cardano's ecosystem, I think that's ultimately going to feed into ADA, especially when we're talking about trading on decentralized exchanges and stuff like that. But I just find this to be really interesting, and I do think it's something that's going to shine more attention on Cardano and on ADA, because of course, there's a lot of FUD out there about how like there's no crypto projects in Cardano's ecosystem and blah blah blah, and like you guys know the classic FUD. But the fact of the matter, of course, is that there are many quality projects in Cardano's ecosystem. These will be highlighted by the Cardano Foundation, and I do think that that's going to result in more attention on Cardano more broadly. And it sounds like this is something that's going to be happening every Friday here. So hopefully, last Friday it looks like it was for wallets. Hopefully this Friday will be something that's like for actual altcoins, actual projects that will actually get people interested in Cardano and ADA, if that makes any sense. With that in mind, guys, we can turn over to the charts here. And I am using Binance actually today, guys. I moved the charts over from Bybit. To be honest, what was really annoying about Bybit is sometimes it would delete the charts that I had drawn in the middle of filming, and I would have to stop and I would have to add that stuff back. I'm sure it's just like a little glitch. It happens sometimes on other exchanges as well. It's nothing against Bybit. Bybit's a great exchange, but today and for the next couple weeks here, we're going to be using Binance. So with that being said, guys, all the price targets here, everything, nothing's changed since we last covered Cardano. The starting point, again, of this most recent move is quite clearly somewhere around 75 cents. Again, of course, the way that you find the starting point is you literally just look at like, okay, what is just take a look at this most recent price action and ask, where did it start? Obviously, it started somewhere around 75 cents. And of course, we're on the daily chart here, guys. And then in terms of finding the resistance level, of course, we have to ask, where did prices have a hard time getting above, like consistently? Where did they have a hard time getting above? I would say it's somewhere around $1.25. And of course, we take the difference between those two levels, which is around 50 cents. And all we have to do to get the target is we add that difference to the resistance, and that gives us a target of $1.75. Nothing has changed there. I still think that target's going to be hit. Maybe it's just going to take an extra week or two to hit, but I do think that target is coming for ADA, and I do think it's going to come around the time of Trump's inauguration or maybe slightly after. So in the next 1 or 2 weeks here, roughly. But in the interim, though, guys, ADA, of course, is looking a little bit weak over the last couple of days. It did get rejected from the support level, which again, like when crypto prices are below these levels, like basically, I can simplify it, guys, is that all these levels fundamentally, they're just key levels, like starting point, support, resistance, target. It's all just key levels, and what they are really depends on where prices are. So when I'm writing support here, it's more in terms of informing anyone who's trading, who's thinking of going long. And as I've been mentioning in videos, guys, you don't want to be trading or going long until we've seen confirmation above resistance, which of course right now ADA is nowhere close to that. But once we do see confirmation above resistance, this whole support, like when I'm drawing these support levels levels here. This is more so for the people who are trying to trade these cryptos. That's roughly where you should probably be setting your stop loss, because if it breaks below that support, chances are it could fall all the way back down to that starting point. And of course, that's what we saw here back in December. That's exactly what happened with ADA. Anyways, guys, with that being said, ADA is looking a little bit weak here, but I do think it's probably going to chop around this range, maybe just like for another week, the same way it was doing back here in late December. And then probably around the time of Trump's inauguration or shortly after, it'll probably rally up into this resistance level, maybe consolidate there for a couple days like it did back here in early December. And then it'll continue heading higher to that $1.75 target. So just be patient, guys. Like don't use leverage. Don't be over leveraged. Just hold and be patient and wait. We're really in like the most bullish phase of the crypto bull market, or starting that phase. And everyone forgets that, like, these altcoins see their largest gains when like there's peak FOMO and all the retail investors are coming back. We still haven't seen that yet, guys. Right now, it's been mostly just like experienced crypto traders and of course the crypto whales. So with that being said, guys, we were using Binance just now, and of course there's a 20% trading fee discount in the Coin Bureau deals page, as well as a $600 bonus. As speaking from experience, guys, I can confirm that these trading fee discounts will help you out a lot. I know 20% doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're trading frequently, even with just a few hundred or a few $1,000s, like those trading fees do add up. It's like $5, $10, $50. Next thing you know, you lost $100 just from trading frequently, like every few days. And again, I'm speaking from experience here, guys, and I'm not some crazy crypto whale. Just from a few $1,000s of trading volume, like you will lose like, a decent amount of money, especially during bull markets. And if you prefer not to use Binance, we also have deals on KuCoin, OKX, and of course we have a up to $60,000 rewards on Bybit. Sorry, guys, getting the two mixed up there. But yeah, like you can take advantage of these deals in the description. They don't cost you a thing. The exchange gets a new user. We get a cut of your trading fees, and you get a trading fee discount. And of course, that cut that we get is how Coin Bureau makes its money. A lot of people accuse us of having an agenda or being sponsored by some crypto project or whatever. We honestly don't care what crypto project you like, guys. Whether you're a Cardano maxi, Ethereum maxi, Solana maxi, Bitcoin maxi, we literally don't care. So long as you're taking advantage of our trading fee discounts and signing up for these exchanges, we win regardless, and you guys win too. And it's a win-win-win for everyone, regardless of the cryptos that you like. With that being said, guys, let's turn over here now to Chainlink. This is where things get interesting. Again, guys, is of course Chainlink, in my opinion, and I know some people are going to disagree with me in the comments here, but I think that Chainlink has faced quite a bit of competition from the likes of like Pyth Network, which is of course a very high performance oracle. And what's interesting is I think it was last year that that Chainlink introduced data streams as a means of competing with Pyth, which is awesome. So Chainlink is now, they've really stepped up their game, and they're now integrating with all these high performance chains. Here, these recent integrations with Aptos and Base, which of course are very fast chains. I mean, like in Base case and even like AVAX. I think they were already integrations before, because these were EVM chains. But regardless, guys, it is really interesting though that Chainlink is really stepping up their game. And I do think that this is probably partially because you can kind of see in the charts that Link is not looking too hot here. So I think Chainlink is really working hard here, say like, we really have to like step up with these integrations and to try and let's say be a little bit more supportive of the price. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it there, guys, but yeah, Link is not looking too hot here. Again, like using our very simple target math, the starting point of this most recent move was somewhere around $20. Maybe you could say it's around 19, but even if you say that, guys, it's currently at the time of shooting, it's falling below this level. And of course, we're on the daily chart here, guys, always on the daily. But Link is not looking too hot here, guys. But I guess the silver lining is I don't think Link is going to go much lower than here. It'll probably consolidate here for a couple of days, and then I do expect a rebound. If there is a really nasty, let's say, CPI print in the middle of this week, if the CPI comes in hotter than expected, and we see another market drawdown in the crypto market and the stock market, it's possible that Link could fall even lower, which would be pretty crazy. Like that would be a little bit, I guess, how would you say, unexpected. To put it lightly, because as you can see here, guys, like if it does break below this, like around $19-20 starting point, then it's probably going to grind all the way back down to $15, which would be a pretty brutal loss. That'll be almost, I think, what, 20% or 25% from these levels. But again, guys, I don't think that the Link is going to go much lower than here. My base case would be that it consolidates around this starting point and then continues heading higher. And of course, in this case, we have a resistance level somewhere around $27. You can see that Link did get above that temporarily, a little bit of a fake out. Some of you might remember when I was covering Link last time that I was mentioning that it's common for crypto whales to manipulate these cryptos, especially larger cryptos. Nothing specific to Chainlink. It happens on most large cap altcoins, especially the ones that are really well known and traded a lot, like Link. You'll see a lot of whales basically manipulating prices above and below levels. So it's actually quite possible that we'll see the same manipulation down here, guys, that we saw. This manipulation above the resistance to kind of like getting people to go long too early and then getting wrecked. And here we have people, of course, that have been accumulating probably around the starting point, around this $19 or $20 level, thinking it's not going to go lower, and maybe they'll scoop down here, maybe down to around $17, and then scoop back up, like to really get everyone wrecked, because this is what a crypto whales like to do. They like to stop people out of their positions. With that being said, guys, I do think that Link is headed for this $34 target. I do think it's something that's going to be, let's say, facilitated by the real world asset narrative, which is probably going to take off after Trump is inaugurated and he starts announcing all these executive orders. And forget about the executive order, guys. Like a lot of people forget that the moment that Trump gets into office, that's going to be like a starting gun for a lot of crypto companies and even regular companies that are going to say, we don't have to be worried about listing more altcoins. We don't have to be worried about like partnering with Chainlink and like launching some institutional product, right? Because, I'm sure that there's a lot of institutions that want to work with Chainlink, but maybe they're scared because they don't know about like the regulatory clarity. But the moment Trump gets into office, they can kind of say, well, like it's still not 100% certain, but the certainty went up from like, let's say, a percentage of, let's say, 30 or 40% to like 70 or 80%, right? And that'll be enough. And again, I'm not talking exact percentages here. It's just like off the top of my head to give you guys an example. You always have to put yourself in the shoes of the institutions that are adopting these cryptos. They're very conscious of regulations, and as amazing as Chainlink is as a product, they're not going to feel comfortable until they get some kind of regulatory clarity, from the from the people on high, so to speak. And I do think that's going to come here in the coming weeks after Trump gets into office, and I do think that's going to reflect in Chainlink's price, and I do think it's going to hit that $34 target. But again, guys, we just have to be patient. That's all. Like be patient, and if you're trading it, do keep in mind it needs to get above this $27 resistance, and if it fails to get above that resistance, then the support level would be $22. Once we do get back up into this range, I don't think Chainlink's going to be falling below 22 again, possibly for the rest of this bull market, to be honest. But we'll have to play things by ear and just take things one step at a time. With that being said, guys, moving on now to Algorand, and those of you might recall, or those of you who've been watching might recall that that last time we covered Algorand, of course, they were talking about how they're going to introduce new staking rewards. And here in this pinned tweet, they specify that it's going to be launching in January 2025. I was curious as to when exactly that would be, and I was going here through, I think through one of the, well, not a blog post, but through one of the, I guess like featured pages here on the Algorand website, and it specifies on the page here that it's going to be sometime in late January. So that coincides, of course, to Trump's inauguration. I'm sure that they're probably timing that on purpose. Again, this is not specific to Algorand. Most crypto projects try and time like their most bullish stuff around the time when they think the markets will be bullish, and sometimes they can even delay it when the markets aren't bullish enough, right? They say, oh, there's some technical issue or something we need to address, we have to kick it. It says it's just an excuse, guys. And I'm not saying that Algorand is going to do this, but I do think that the timing of when they're launching these staking rewards is being very strategic. And hats off to them. You have to be strategic if you want to be a successful crypto project. With that being said, let's turn over now to the Algo chart. And similarly to Link, and I guess less so to ADA, Algo is looking a little bit weak here. It's possible that it'll restart, or I guess retest this starting point here of this most recent move. That's not necessarily my base case. I don't think it'll get quite there. Maybe it'll get just above that, maybe around 33 cents instead of 32 cents. But regardless, guys, I do think Algo is looking a little bit weak here. It's not specific to Algo. Like the whole crypto market's looking a little bit weak here. But I do think that, and this is something I forget if I mentioned in the last video, but it's like, okay, guys, like, why are you being bearish here when we're probably within like 5 or 10% of the bottom, right? Okay, maybe Algo goes a little bit lower and goes to like, let's say 28 cents or something, right? But are you really going to be that upset when, like, back here it was trading at like 45 cents and like, most of the move is basically over. Like it was at 45 cents. Now it's at like what, like 33. And then it's going to go to like, I don't know, 28, 29 or even 30. And you're thinking, oh no, like it's over. It's over. It's like, no, like the most of the crash is over. You know what I mean? In percentage terms, this is the case for Bitcoin. This is the case for the whole crypto market. It's just really interesting that everyone gets so bearish right at the point where most of the move is basically done. So if you are holding Algo here, and you hear me saying that, it could go a little bit lower, on a percentage term basis, most of this down move is already over. So most of the pain is over. So now all you have to do is just be patient and wait until it gets back up to this resistance level and goes for this 72-cent target. And of course, the target math there, guys, super straightforward. Starting point of around 32 cents. We have a resistance, of not 52, but 0.52 here. Let me just clarify that, 0.52. And of course, the difference there is around 20 cents. And that gives us a target of 72 when you add the difference to the resistance. And of course, from the current price, you'd be looking at more than 2x. But from the resistance, it'd be an upside of around 38 or 37%. And again, guys, if you're trading, this like the main point of this resistance here is for anyone who's trading, you need to wait and see wait for algo to get above this resistance level before you start going long or anything like that. And the support level here is really just to denote, if there's a rejection from this resistance level, that it'll fall down to support, and otherwise here from once prices are below this key level, then this support might act as a little bit of resistance on the way up, and maybe we'll see a little bit of chop and grind around 40 cents before algo keeps heading higher. But again, guys, we're on the daily chart here. In the next couple of weeks, I do think that algo is going to hit this target, and I do think it's going to go higher than that. For anyone who's going to be asking this, again, this is just in the coming days. This is not a cycle top target. This is literally just over the next couple of weeks here, okay? The cycle top is not going to be hit in the next couple of weeks. The cycle top is not in, contrary to what all the people on Twitter/X are saying. There's still a long way to go for algo, and an even longer way to go for all the altcoins in Algorand's ecosystem and the smaller cap altcoins in general. With that being said, guys, I'm going to, of course, shill the Coin Bureau Club here at the end of the video. That's where we do deep dives into small cap altcoins, small caps and mid caps, but we try and focus on the small caps because, of course, that's where the most potential is. We do deep dives every single week, like literally like 20 or 30-minute videos, like going deep into these altcoins. The one that we're going to be covering this Friday is Trueflation, which is like a real world asset one. They're actually in talks with Cardano. I was just listening to an interview earlier today that the CEO and founder of Trueflation is in talks with Charles Hoskinson to potentially get integrated into some Cardano projects. So there's some alpha for you there. The way that we pick these altcoins is we basically have a poll every single week, and the altcoins in the poll are chosen based on our research as well as the research of our Coin Bureau Club members, and then everyone votes on it, and the one that they vote for is the one that we review. It keeps us objective and it keeps things interesting, to say the least. And of course, we also have a research feed where I'm sharing alpha like the type that I'm sharing with you guys now. But of course, I go a lot more in depth. I was sharing a lot of alpha yesterday, to be honest. And we also showcase our personal crypto portfolios as well as the cryptos that we're holding. We have huge discounts and deals on crypto analytics platforms. If you're into like data and stuff like that, we have huge discounts on those and the exclusive deals page. And we also have a members Discord where you can come and you can speak with us and ask us questions and stuff like that. With all that being said, guys, if you did make it this far, then you are owed some classic Dan alpha, let's say. And this is this fundamental factor, guys. Like a lot of people when they ask me, like why should I be bullish on the market right now when all this stuff is happening and all this bearish macro data and everything. One factor that I think that everyone is completely overlooking is that basically there's a debt ceiling scuffle, a debt ceiling debate going on in the U.S. here, and it sounds like so Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen recently announced a couple weeks back that they're going to have to start taking quote unquote extraordinary measures to avoid a debt default in the United States. And of course, that might sound scary when you first hear it, but the key takeaway in this case, guys, is that what this basically means is that the U.S. government is going to have to spend money out of its bank account instead of issuing debt. And the practical effect of this is that you have a lot more money going into the markets, and it's going to be very supportive of assets in general. And here we can actually take a look here this is basically the balance of the U.S. government's bank account, of like the Treasury General account, which is basically the U.S. government's bank account. And this is in trillions of dollars, okay, guys? In billions and billions. So here you can see during the pandemic, of course, it hit a peak of something like, what was it? Like 1.7 or 1.8 trillion. And then, of course, that was drained down into the economy. And that's what caused this the huge crypto bull market through 2021 was super supported by all this drawdown. Like, basically, like, this is like literally think of this as like the U.S. government's bank account balance. It started at this high level and was drained. It's like they spending all the way into the economy, everything. And this is what caused a huge bull market. What's crazy is that if you even look down here, guys, you can see that the crypto bull market and the stock market bull market top, like both of those tops were marked like literally within 1 or 2 weeks of this account being drained. And we have a similar thing here, guys, where during 2023, I think it was somewhere here, yeah. So in early 2023, of course, it was a much smaller move, but this is kind of what caused the recovery in the crypto market in early 2023 was the fact that there was a debt ceiling debate back then as well, and then that kind of kept things gridlocked in Congress, and the U.S. government had to spend out of its account. And this is kind of what really caused the recovery in the spring, and into the I guess basically just into the spring, to be honest. For that first 4 or 5 months of the year, the crypto market was able to recover because of this spending, which it doesn't look like a lot, but this is like hundreds of billions of dollars being pumped into the economy. Of course, back here it was trillions, but here is hundreds of billions. And now we're about to see the same thing happen again, guys, according to Janet Yellen, that as soon as January 14th, which is literally tomorrow, So in the next couple days here, we're probably going to see the Treasury General account drained again, and this is going to be supportive of the crypto market and of the stock market probably into May. And this is where things get really interesting, guys. Here's the real alpha where everything kind of comes together. So if you're still listening, you're in for a real treat here. As some of you might have heard, that's basically Republicans are thinking of putting like all the things that Trump wants to pass in terms of regulations, whether it's like crypto or energy or immigration or whatever, which of course we're not going to get into here. But all of Trump's policies, they want to put everything into one big bill, and they want to pass that big bill by Memorial Day, which is sometime in May. Right. And if in case you guys just missed it, last time during the debt ceiling debate, basically these extraordinary measures, the spending from the government account, that basically lasted from January until May. And now we're basically seeing history repeat where it's going to start sometime in January. And this drawdown will probably last until May. And in my view, guys, with the Republicans saying that they want everything to be passed in one bill, what do you think the chances are of that bill getting passed on the first try? Probably not. They probably know it's going to be months and months and months of going back and forth and arguing, amongst themselves and then with the other side and whatever. But point being, guys, is I actually don't think that this bill is going to be passing anytime soon. And that means that there's a very high likelihood because the U.S. politicians can't agree on like spending. There's a very high likelihood that this TGE is going to be drained all the way back down basically to zero, the same way that it was in 2023. And this will be supportive of the crypto market, especially when you factor in that the Federal Reserve is probably going to stop selling assets from its balance sheet, which is going to be supportive of liquidity. We're going to have probably a bunch of executive orders that are going to be specific to crypto coming out, maybe like strategic Bitcoin reserves. Again, like even though a lot of the crypto regulation stuff is probably going to be in this bill, Trump will probably be announcing, these executive orders. If anyone's getting into the SEC, then we'll probably see some like a lot of these lawsuits being dropped, a lot of ETFs being approved, of course, like including for the likes of yeah, like all these altcoins basically, guys, like XRP, Cardano, Chainlink, probably Algorand, all these major altcoins are probably going to get ETFs, especially when they see the dam breaking at the SEC. And it's not going to come right away, guys. Like this is going to take a few months here. But my point is that over the next 4 or 5 months, the backdrop is objectively bullish. The backdrop suggests that there's going to be hundreds of billions of dollars pumped into the economy. The backdrop suggests that the Fed is going to be more supportive of liquidity in terms of reducing its balance sheet runoff, which is going to help a lot with these long-term interest rates that have been spooking the market. Not going to get too much into the macro there, guys. But this ties very nicely into this really cool chart that I saw on Twitter/X. I don't necessarily agree with this guy's analysis, although I do think that the more or less the structure of what this guy is calling for is pretty accurate. So here he's talking about Ethereum, and he's calling for basically 6,800 by the end of March, like for Ethereum. So here you can see kind of like the chart going up to sort of 6,800 and then hitting 10K by the end of May. I actually think that this is something like this is probably going to happen. I'm a little bit like, I guess, in disagreement about the timeline. I think maybe it'll hit maybe something like, I don't know, 5,000 or 6,000 maybe in February, crash in like March, April, and then in May it'll start recovering, and then maybe June, July it'll get to like that 10K target. So that's kind of like where I differ. But the point being, guys, is that I actually do think this is a pretty accurate setup. There's going to be a lot of bullish announcements and a lot of bullish stuff from like Solana, Sui, and all these big crypto projects. They're planning a lot of conferences and stuff in May, which tells me, like, I think this is when the crypto market, all the powers that be, all the money in the market, they're probably planning on some huge rallies and stuff, or potentially the top over sometime in May, June, July timeframe. And that's been my personal time frame, basically, I think since last summer is when I first started like charting out the course of how the crypto market's going to go. And of course, in the short term, ETH could fall a little bit lower, which is exactly what this guy was calling for here as well. And of course, for those of you who don't know, like ETH's correlation to altcoins is very high. So whatever ETH does, altcoins also do, basically. So this is why, like, for example, in the Coin Bureau Club Discord, I do a lot of analysis of ETH BTC every single day. And the simple reason for that is that if you know what ETH is going to do, chances are that altcoins are going to do the same thing. And same thing for Bitcoin. But of course, with ETH and altcoins, the correlation is a lot higher. This is for a lot of reasons, including that like most altcoins with a lot of economic value are on Ethereum. So everything on Ethereum trades against ETH on decentralized exchanges and so on and so on. And ETH is a primary form of collateral that whales use to borrow in DeFi to like speculate on altcoins. Anyways, guys, it's a lot of technical stuff. But if you did make it this far, I guess the key takeaway, guys, is like the next few days will maybe be a little bit bumpy. Maybe even this whole week is going to be bumpy. But I do think that by the end of this month, we're going to start seeing some serious recoveries in these cryptos. The ones that are the most beaten down are the ones that are going to probably pump the most. So this is, I guess, a sign probably for Chainlink and for Algorand, especially for Chainlink. And like the more that I look at this chart, guys, the more that I do think that there's going to be some whale manipulation below this level, the same way there was above it. And I do think that in that case, when you're going to be starting from that, whatever it is, $17 a point, then it's going to be a 2x, of course, from those lows for Chainlink to hit this $34 target. And I do think that's going to happen in the coming weeks here, guys. So just be patient. Don't use a crazy amount of leverage, because you probably will get wrecked. And just wait until you get confirmation of these moves before you even think of going long. That's, again, not financial advice, but that's what I would be doing personally. And that's also why, like, some of you guys might remember last week I said I was going to maybe open some trades as soon as today. I think I'm going to hold off for a couple days here until we get that economic data, until we get that inflation data. And once that inflation data is in, depending on how the market's looking, then maybe I'll start putting on some trades there. And of course, I'll be sure to let you guys know when I do that. With all that being said, if you did make it this far, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, ping that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one.